I want to talk about one of my favorite cases in this class, and it's one of my favorites because the facts are just so bizarre and interesting, but a great illustration of negligence. This is Currie versus Chevron. Now, first of all, we want to talk about, we have a civil negligence version of murder, and that's called wrongful death. So there's murder, which happens in the criminal court, and then in civil court, when you're trying to sue, or the family of the deceased is suing for monetary damages, that is wrongful death. So this case is going to revolve around wrongful death. There have probably been criminal charges already. In a separate case, we're in a civil case. Now, remember that in the law, practically speaking, lawsuits almost always follow the money. And in this case, we're going to have an employee who is potentially doing something negligent, but the lawsuit is against the employer because, hey, a company like Chevron's got a lot more money than the gas station attendant, most likely. And they've got, a fantastic insurance policy because things happen at gas stations, right? Accidents and robberies, people slipping and falling. So they're well insured, and that's who you're going to go after in a lawsuit. So what happened in this case? The facts are just bizarre. You've already read the case. You probably have a hard time believing it as well. But so what happens here is that we've got these two women who are getting into a fight somewhere near a Chevron gas station. And one of the women grabs the other by the hair and drags her over to the gas station and up near the gas pump. Now, there is a bystander at this time, and the bystander walks by and sees these two women fighting, walks into the gas station and tells the gas station attendant, hey, there are two people out by that gas tank, out by the pump that are in an altercation. So lets the gas station attendant know about this fight. Now, I lived in California for a while, and one of the things that's different from between Minnesota and California is that they really don't trust people at gas stations. In a lot of places in Minnesota, you can just go and you can pump gas and you go in and pay. In California, you have to get typically approval, right? You have to actually call and talk to the attendant. They look at you out the window or through the camera and prove that you're there, or you go in and prepay, but they don't want you to just be able to take gas before you provide some kind of proof of who you are or prepay the situation. So in this case, they needed the attendant to approve that pump to start pumping gas. So these women are fighting. This bystander has walked in, warned the attendant there's a fight, and the woman who has now drugged the other over by the hair rings the gas station attendant to approve the pump. And so the attendant does so, and the woman out at the pump takes the gas nozzle, douses the other in gasoline, lights a cigarette, lights her on fire, and she ends up not surviving this terrible murder. So this is just bizarre, right? And I've never worked in a gas station. I imagine you see all sorts of things in all walks of life of people coming and filling up motorcycles and cars and trucks, maybe getting small gas tanks if you've run out of gas. So the question here before the court is whether the gas station attendant acted negligently in authorizing that pump to pump gas, right? Approving it. Now, you're saying, well, this is the attendant who did this, not the company. Well, the company is responsible. You're responsible for the actions of your employees. You should have trained them for these situations. You should have hired competent people. And even if you did those things, if your employees do something dumb, you are still responsible because they are under your employment, right? So is Chevron now responsible because the gas station attendant acted negligently? Now, this is really hard for me to sort of comprehend, because you wish you knew the situation. Could the gas station attendant see the women? Was that warning by the bystander? Exactly what did they say? And how often are there fights at gas stations? I bet you see people fighting all the time. They've had a long road trip and they get out and they're arguing. So do you hear about a fight and you automatically think that it's someone getting ready to light someone else on fire with the gas nozzle? I've never heard of that, right? That would you would never expect that to happen. So should they have questioned the situation when they looked out and didn't see any kind of vehicle? Or is it reasonable to still authorize the pump when you don't see a car? Again, maybe someone has a little gas tank for a lawnmower, or they ran out of gas. So what is reasonable for a gas station attendant to do in this situation? And I think that's a good question for you to wrestle with. Like, do you believe the court may believe that Chevron is responsible here, and that it was unreasonable for the gas station attendant to authorize the pump? But what do you think? Could you conceive of a situation where these things might have happened, yet you would still authorize the tank? Like, I think if I were working in a gas station and you're seeing, again, all sorts of situations, and really, probably you see a lot of crazy, different sorts of things happening, I'm not sure I would be wise enough to have not authorized the pump. But it's an interesting set of situations in asking what would the reasonably prudent gas station attendant do? And in this case, they should not have authorized it, but I think that you could make a good argument for the other decision.